welcome back to Whining with the Witches. Believe it or not, we have no wine today, so this is just how Lauren is
Yeah,
for
this is
everybody
just me.
watching. Today's episode is about karma and free will. I am Brittany, and today again I have with me,
Lauren.
and we're gonna just talk about all things karma, all things free will. So, I guess just to start, so everybody listening or watching or whatever can get an idea. The official understanding of karma is that it's an Indian philosophy religion, and basically the concept is the things you do in this life, good or bad, will affect you in the next life, good or bad. So, with that being said, Lauren, do you believe in karma? What's your understanding of karma if you do? And how does it fit into your practice?
So everyone by now knows I love history, so I'm gonna talk about this from a
Wow,
historical
you love
concept.
history?
So I think the idea of karma is prevalent in almost every society, and alters or changes in some way, just depending on like locally. So my and then obviously the West, in its normal problematic way, has like altered our understanding of karma very significantly. I don't necessarily believe in karma, but I do believe in balance from
Mhm,
like a universal perspective, scientific perspective, as well as like elemental perspective. Um,
mhm,
the earth is very good at maintaining balance. As humans, we need balance.
yeah.
So I very much view it from that perspective, versus being this like guiding force based off of my singular decisions.
Right. And sorry, he's being a little.
Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna have so many cat interruptions. All black cats all the time.
I know. Were you in the black magic discussion, Apollo?
Yeah.
So, I guess with that understanding of balance, do you incorporate do you incorporate karma or that balance into your practice?
I do. So specifically in tarot readings that I do for myself,
Mhm.
um, consistently my deck reminds me, that I need to maintain balance within myself,
Mhm.
which leads into, like, a lot of, like, elemental guided, meditation or practice. The one I get the most is air,
Mhm.
so, like, reminding myself to breathe, is a pretty consistent one.
Mhm.
And then from, like, a philosophical perspective, I do believe, like, as a human, that I should be the most kind I am able to be, and I do think there are amounts of retribution when people do very horrible things.
Mhm.
Like, going back to the idea of balance, you know, and it's not perfect. I know it's not like a perfect ideology,
Mhm.
but I do think, really crappy people deserve to stub their toe when they're going up the stairs.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
I agree. Um I guess for me, I'm very much like you. I think of karma very scientifically, like
yeah,
very much of, for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. So, but I don't think it's some mystical, like universal thing that happens. I think sometimes it can be,
yeah,
but I think that people can be the driving force of that. So
yes,
like if something like someone does something bad to you, I could be their karma.
yes,
And
exactly.
oftentimes I am.
Yeah,
So I don't think that it necessarily needs to be something that you hope the universe does.
yeah,
Um, like I've seen people recently do like karma spells. It's very weird. I feel like it's their way of getting around doing baneful magic. I'm like, but if someone does something bad to you, you're allowed
yeah,
to you know, you're
yeah,
allowed to be upset about it and you're allowed to want them to get their comeuppance,
yeah,
you're allowed that stuff.
yeah,
So I think that one of the things, like you were saying about karma in the West, is it's been bastardized in the
yeah,
sense that, you know, you're not allowed to interfere. Like karma has to run its course and you
Yeah.
can't be involved or else, you'll lower your vibrations or something like that. So, which brings me to like the New Agers and the Wiccans. So I
Yeah, I was
know
gonna
since
say
we
I have Wikipedia pulled up so that we can read the rule of 3,
okay, good,
because
because I was gonna say.
I don't have it memorized. It states that whatever energy a person puts out into the world, be it positive or negative, will be returned to that person 3 times. And that some subscribe to a variant of this law in which return is not necessarily threefold. Um, but the rule of 3 is very prevalent, I think, in those spaces.
Very much so.
Yeah,
The So I see the rule of three a lot, especially with places that are heavily pagan.
yeah,
Um, Whether they're Wiccan or not, I see it more often in the spaces that are more new agey.
yeah.
I see more of the like
Mm,
love and light people,
yeah.
which I think are honestly worse. I and anybody listening, if you're a love and light person, sorry.
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah, because so they're the ones that think that you can never do anything mean or
Yeah,
bad, and I'm paraphrasing and,
yeah,
a little bit, but and if you do, you lower your vibrations,
yeah,
which means something. I've never gotten a clear, like, understanding of what actually happens, but the gist is you're not going to be living up to your fullest power type thing.
yeah,
You're like giving into negativity, that toxic positivity.
yeah,
And it's frustrating because, in our last episode we were talking about the concept of like black magic and how a lot of times that's in reference to black or POC practices. A lot of times I see this in that dynamic with the new agers versus these practices as well. In hoodoo, the concept of karma is perceived a little differently,
Oh, that's
kind of
interesting.
similar to what I said before, but more so not necessarily hard line, but it's more of a common understanding like people are the karma. So like if
Yeah,
I do something or if someone does something to me, I can retaliate. And
yeah,
I'm pushing the universe to give that karma back to that person. So I'm like the catalyst.
yeah,
And a lot of times I'll see practitioners that are in like mixed conversation, and the love and light people always come in with, you're going to get that back tenfold or threefold, or you're going to lower your vibrations if you do this. And it's so frustrating because, like, the original poster will be like, I don't believe that. So if you don't have anything of value to add, just go away. And
yeah,
it's almost like shaming people for feeling their feelings,
yeah,
and it's not like people are going out to, like, shoot someone in the face, you know? It's just like, "Okay, I want you to hit every red light for the rest of the day," or, "I want all of your food to taste bland for a month," or something like that. Even if it's a little more serious, it's, like,
yeah,
not that serious.
yeah. I view the love and light people as people who are like, I can't think of a better word, but like appropriating accessible therapy techniques for,
Mm,
like, lowering your vibrations. Like, I very much view that as, like, internalizing negativity.
mhm,
Um, but I don't know if they recognize that they're doing that. And so anytime that they start to kind of, like, warp these very standard, like, therapy techniques, I'm like, "Please go to therapy." Like, you have feelings, you're human. Water yourself, take care of yourself, and go to therapy to
yeah.
address whatever issue it is that you're trying to overcome, with your hashtag of love and light.
Yeah, I
Like,
guess I never thought about that. That's a good point.
yeah.
Do you have any examples?
So specifically, like, internalizing the negativity,
Mhm,
to, like, bring down your vibrations, I would say is one,
mhm,
and then also, like, releasing negativity. Like, it's pretty standard, to, like, give your brain 5 minutes to just race through all the busy thoughts and then,
Yeah.
like, release that negativity.
Yeah.
Standard, like, therapy practices,
Right. Right.
and I think they're taking those and kind of, like, manipulating themselves, manipulating others,
Mhm.
um, and also on a personal level, I like to sign my cards with, "In love and light," as,
Mhm.
like, for people, obviously, of, like, all faiths, I think that's a
Right.
very
It's like a
great.
generic catch.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, versus saying, especially at, like, weddings and stuff and Christmas
Yeah.
cards, and so it annoys me that that they've taken that phrase and made it something so bad. I'm like, "I really like this phrase, like,
Oh,
don't do
yeah.
this." Yeah,
I totally get it. It's they've appropriated it.
yeah,
But it's funny you say manipulate it because I feel like with a lot of new age practices, they use karma as almost like karma is like the new you're going to hell.
yeah,
And I know we talked about this in our first episode about how religion has affected the community, and a lot of people internalize a lot of that trauma and just replace it with different words. And
yeah.
I think this is a prime example of that.
Oh,
Is just
absolutely.
instead of being able to, feel how you feel or, want to do whatever you want to do, you don't under fear of like lowering your vibrations or, whatever, or fear of karma, fear of the
Yeah,
threefold law. And it is just that. It's just fear of things happening to you, which is sad because that's life, things happen, but,
yeah,
to feel like if you do something wrong, something bad will happen to you
yeah,
is it's very, New Age is very, like, borderline culty. I don't wanna go as far to say it's an actual cult because
yeah,
it's not organized enough for that, but it could very well easily be one. They prey on people, they don't let them feel their feelings,
yeah.
therapy is usually not a thing, I mean, it's checking all the boxes.
Yeah, it is. And then also going back to the idea of religion and a lot of atheist communities, they have these feelings like phrasing like that is used by religion to make people be good.
Mhm,
And so it's like the true test of humanity is like removing those things and do you still do good things, behave good?
mhm,
You know, and so I think it's really these people who just need this phrase to be like, "This is how I can be a good person." And it's
mhm.
like, just be a good person. Like, you don't need this,
Yeah,
like, karma to keep you in check if you are a good person.
yeah, it's honestly a little sad, I
Yeah,
know not all New Agers are like that, but it's just very prevalent in the
yeah,
community, and it's a, like, core foundation of it, but, yeah, the love and light witches are wild. I mean, you post one thing about wanting to hex somebody, and here they come, threefold law. They're like seagulls.
yeah.
Threefold law, threefold.
Yeah, they smelled it.
Yes, yes. It's like seagulls to fries on a beach.
Yeah,
They're gonna be there in droves. So when you do I guess let's transition a little into like the free will side of things.
yeah.
Like how do you describe free will? Do you think we have it? Do you think that maybe sort of or not at all?
Um, so I think humans have ultimate free will.
Mhm. So like
Like,
nothing's pulling the strings, not even like energy or universe or spirits or whatever. Purely
um I don't think anything's pulling the strings, and I know our opinions on this differentiate. I do believe that a majority of humans are inherently good. Um, so
sorry.
yeah, no, so I do think the decisions that we make, are guided
Mhm.
by humanity,
Right.
not necessarily like this other greater being. Um, And before anyone jumps on me, I'm a huge true crime fan. I recognize that that can change very quickly, and that upbringing has a huge role in that, along with that some people are just born as awful people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I guess I won't be so macabre and be like, humanity is doomed or anything
Yeah.
like that. But no, I also believe in free will. I feel like people can manipulate people into thinking
Oh, yeah.
they like it at an individual level. They can manipulate people into thinking they're making their own decisions, but they're not.
Yes.
So, a lot of times with that in mind, I kind of mindfully do my spells with that understanding.
Yeah.
Where like I never want to feel like I'm manipulating anyone in any kind of way, whether it's good or bad. Like
Yeah.
if you said you had a cold and I wanted to do a health spell for you, I would ask you, even
Yeah.
though I know you'd be like, "Yeah, totally do it." Um, the only time I wouldn't ask is if it, if it was something painful because screw that person.
Yeah.
But, I guess this kinda the idea of free will in general, I do think that we do have our own free will. I think that it depends a lot on kinda like what you were saying, your upbringing and just, I guess, your individuality as a human, I guess? I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it. I think some people are just more easily manipulated and therefore maybe they don't have as much free will as others. This sounds really mean. Is this
Yes.
mean?
Right. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Don't come for me, guys. I'm trying to make this sound as nice as possible. But I think that, ultimately in general, just overgeneralizing, yeah, I totally think free will's a thing. I don't
Yeah.
like believe in deities or spirits manipulating things or um but I do believe that, there's when things get out of balance, the world kind of wants to balance itself out.
Yeah. I agree.
Um and people are like that. I feel like when you get out of balance, you want to. It's just sometimes you can't always do that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier,
Well,
but
and
in
then
a
also,
nicer way.
like, good is a negotiable thing, right?
Yeah,
Like, going to ideas of laws, which we're taught are, like, the definers of good.
right.
There are a lot of laws that should not exist.
It never
Um,
have existed.
yeah, present and past. So yeah, I think it's a very, like, complex but slippery slope.
I agree. I think that, If so this okay, I'm gonna ask your opinion, and it's gonna sound like I'm changing the subject, but it's kind of based off of that.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on love spells?
Um, so I am a huge person, kind of going back to, like, how you said you would ask me. I think consent is critical.
Mhm.
And I don't think forcing someone to love you or encouraging someone to love you outside of their own choices or desires or thoughts is highly manipulative
Yeah.
and only self-servient. Long
Yep.
term, that can't be the relationship that you want it to be.
Yeah. I totally agree. I'm very much of the mindset, do whatever spells you want, but then if you get judged for it, then you have to just understand you're going to get
Yeah,
judged for it. Like I know I'm very hex positive, but like I said, the love and lighters are going to say something
yeah,
about it. I just don't care. But
yeah.
so anybody listening that has done love spells and I'm about to shit talk you, I'm sorry, you could just decide not to care.
Or
But
not do them.
yeah, there's always that. But I agree. I think it's very manipulative and like I feel like the mundane equivalent is like trapping someone by getting pregnant or trapping
Yes,
someone by impregnating them,
yes,
and I don't see a difference. I
yeah,
still see it as a huge form of manipulation. The relationship is not starting on anything of any value.
yeah,
So it's not going to be a happy, healthy relationship. It just can't be.
yeah,
And I think the idea of trapping someone is just so disgusting to me. Like, why would you want the relationship to be based off of trapping someone?
Yeah, narcissism.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I guess as a non-narcissist, I can't understand. But it's a huge love magic is creates huge arguments every time it pops up. I remember reading a post someone posted, it was like, "I did a love spell and it backfired and now all my friends hate me." And I was just like, "Good."
Brava,
I was
brava.
like, "Mwah, chef's
Yeah,
kiss." I mean, it's mean, but still,
yeah,
that's so cruel. I just don't understand the concept. It's so cruel. And then there's the people that so talking about free will and manipulating people, their rationale for why love magic or, like specifically trying to attract a specific person,
yeah.
their rationale for why that's okay is like, well, if you do a money spell for a job, you're manipulating it so the other person doesn't get the job. But I'm not trapping them. And I'm like, that's a stretch there. That's a stretch because and you know what? I'm gonna let you go because I can see it on your face.
So I do a lot of spells in regards to creativity and success. So like especially when I submit my work to a really big gallery, like I'll do a spell specifically for like support creativity. Um, and at the end of the day, a judge still chose my work instead of
Yeah,
somebody else's work. Um, and at the like I think requesting something to the universe for it to happen is very different than enacting that onto a person.
yeah,
Like, re releasing hope or desires into this, like, space that we can't inhabit is very
right,
differently than manipulating somebody into an action. Um,
exactly.
and so, yeah, I don't that's the mental gymnastics there
It,
is
yeah.
astounding.
Yep, I see it all the time, and that's exactly right. You're more so like just putting out an energy that you hope is being reciprocated by the other
Yeah,
party. You're not saying like, Judge X and Judge Y are going to see my project, immediately fall in love, and have me win.
yeah,
That's
and send me
different.
$1,800.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's different, and I think that it just goes to show that people don't understand. I was gonna say understand free will, but I think it really boils down to people not understanding consent
Yeah, I agree.
and thinking that just because something's magical instead of mundane, that suddenly consent doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But because of the idea of free will, I think it's important to get consent for really, anything. Like if I had a friend whose cousin or something passed away, and I asked if I could light a candle for him.
yeah,
I could have easily just lit a candle, but
yeah,
I just asked, and he was very happy about it. Another
yeah,
friend was going through some health issues, and I asked if I could do a little health spell for him, and he was very grateful for it. So, it doesn't hurt to ask, even if you think they're gonna say yes. Just ask. And I feel like if you have to do something that you have to hide or are nervous to tell people about, probably shouldn't be doing it.
probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I very much take it back to and I'm sure everybody, within, like, witch communities have had this happen, of somebody saying, "Oh, I'll pray for you."
Ugh.
And it's just like, "I don't need your prayers," and that's such, like, a manipulative statement, a manipulative topic,
Mhm.
um, and so, yeah, like, asking consent is so important. Like, I would
Yeah.
never assume that somebody would want me to do something like that for them.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. It's so entitled and just it is narcissistic, just like you
yeah,
said, to think that people are going to just either want your help or want you if you're doing like love magic, whatever
yeah.
it is. And it's also like it always boils back to like go to therapy,
Yeah,
whatever is going on, you got to get that
go to
worked out.
therapy, go to therapy.
I feel a
Yeah.
lot of witches and, practitioners could deal with, like, resolve 90% of their issues by just going to therapy.
Most people can.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get it. Anybody listening, therapy, especially if you're in America, is not an accessible thing.
Yeah.
So I understand. I'm just speaking hyperbolically.
Yeah. We understand healthcare.
Yes. Don't even, I need a podcast where I just rant about healthcare for like an hour each episode.
Yeah, yeah, I could do that easy.
Oh, very easily. So I guess well, we have a few more minutes. So, one thing I will bring up, I'm actually combining 2 episodes in this by mistake. So I'm just gonna finish it off.
Yeah,
I t I know we've spoken about this in previous episodes. I mentioned it just now. I'm very hex positive. I think people should do baneful work
yeah.
if they think that it's um rational for the situation that is going on. What's your opinion on it?
So I tried to
Be love and light?
yeah, kind of, yeah, I don't I know why people do it.
Yeah.
I so for me, magic is a very, it's a way to offer gratitude, but
Mhm.
also fulfill my desires. So
Right.
very rarely do other people come into that practice, which I think is a bit different than how you treat it.
Yeah.
So I do casual hexes, like wishing somebody to stub their toe or fall
Well,
down the
yeah,
stairs.
we do jinxes all the time. It's
Yeah,
okay.
but yeah, I did participate in, like, a large hex event for one of our previous presidents here in the United States that was, like, a,
No more need to drop?
countrywide thing, but very rarely do I do them,
Mhm.
but I don't have an issue with people who do, as
Yeah,
long as it's, like, within reason, like, there's a few people that I think shouldn't exist in the world, but for the most part, like,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I've come very close to, possibly hexing people, but I try to go other routes first and
yeah,
see if that resolves the situation, because to me, like, hexing someone is like the equivalent of me just deciding to go up and punch someone, and
yeah,
there aren't many. I mean, I'm an angry person. I'm from Philly, so I could easily wanna punch somebody, but generally take other avenues first before we go to that route. And then, like, cursing someone is like me going up and stabbing someone. Like,
yeah, yeah,
that's how I equate it.
yeah,
And then,
I
like,
like that.
jinxes are more like me throwing spitballs at someone. Like, that's
Yeah,
how I equate the severity of them.
yeah,
So for me to want to go out and put my energy behind hexing someone, like, you have to do something egregious to
yeah,
me or like somebody I care about. But a lot of times I feel like other things like bindings or protection spells are much more useful for the
yeah,
situation. So while I'm not against it, I'm also lazy. So I like to
yeah,
go like easier routes first and
yeah,
hopefully that resolves the situation. But conversely, while I am hex positive, I feel like I've seen people wanna hex people over the most wild things.
yeah. I don't know how people
Wild.
have so much energy.
I don't either.
I'm
And
tired.
I have to assume they don't either. I assume a lot of them are, like, young and
Yeah,
inexperienced, and one one comes to mind. This chick was like, "I'm thinking of hexing someone. Can someone help me with, like, these correspondences?" And I don't know, something she said, I was just like, "Well, what did they do?" And maybe
yeah,
we can suggest, like, if they're running their mouth and they're causing, like, your reputation to tank or something, that's something different than if they're, like, physically harming you or,
yeah,
like, and they were like, "Well, I like him, but he has a girlfriend and I'm mad at him." And I'm like, "Oh, you're big crazy. So you're big
yeah.
C crazy.
No,
Okay, go to therapy."
go to therapy.
I was like, "Oh my god, that's crazy. Like, he's just living his life and you wanna hex him because and this is probably why he doesn't like you because 'cause you're crazy."
Yeah. I hope
And
Better
I see
Health
that
sponsors us.
a lot. You what?
I hope Better Health sponsors us.
Come on, Better Health, you can do
Yeah.
it.
Go to therapy.
And anytime we say you can go to therapy, we'll just put up a little, like,
A little
pop-up
logo in
box.
the corner, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that, so because of how I interpret free will is I guess why I formed my opinions on like baneful magic and
Yeah,
stuff like that because I don't feel like I feel like if as long as I'm doing something justified, then why would anything come back, you
yeah,
know?
I agree.
But so, one last thing, and then I will finish it off. A lot of the practitioners in like hoodoo and stuff don't believe in karma. They believe, similar to me, that they are the karma. And there was a discussion recently in a group, and the owner of the group uh, was like, "Well, I mean, anytime people ask about karma, I always just say, if karma was real, then why did slavery exist, or
Yeah,
why did the Holocaust happen?"
yeah,
And, and I'm like, that's exactly how I feel about it, you
yeah,
know? I feel like, if it's and it's well, I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole, but yes, so that's kinda how I've thought about the idea of karma, free will, and all of that stuff.
yeah. No, I think we agree for the most part in
Yeah,
general of, like, how it operates. Because yeah, like, not all humans are good, and a lot
yeah,
of humans do very bad things.
mhm. I
Yeah,
agree. I mean, as much as I don't like our justice system or whatever, some people need to be locked up.
yeah,
They do. They
yeah,
just, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's many things wrong with our justice system and
yeah,
our prison systems and stuff. But at the end of the day, some people just need to be locked up.
yeah,
They enjoy hurting people and there's no way to stop them
yeah,
otherwise.
yeah,
So I think that there's certain means to justify the ends for dealing with people like that, and you just have to be okay with it. No love and light.
yeah. Let me use that phrase again.
Make America love and light again.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
goodness.
that was our topic for like ethics and or not ethics and spell work. Oh my gosh, karma and free will. We did talk about ethics,
Yeah,
so
we did.
kind of
It's
what I was
fine.
thinking of. But so yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment, like, and subscribe. If you are listening over on whatever podcast thing you listen on, and you have any questions, feel free to email us, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.